right, it's also my pleasure to introduce our upcoming speaker. His name is Jethro Jones, and he is the principal at Tanana Middle School in Fairbanks. A couple fans out there, right? Jethro has developed software. He's written digital books. He's worked with teachers all over the country, and he has a great podcast. If you haven't already discovered it, it's titled Transformative Principal. There are over 300 episodes of a back catalog where he's interviewing and talking with some of the greatest minds in education in the world. So check that out. He's always just thoughtful and strategic about technology and how it can be a critical component of learning. So please join me in welcoming Jethro Jones, NASSP National Digital Principal of the Year.
Thank you. This is exciting for me. I'm humbled and honored to be here. This is really a great opportunity. Thank you, Amanda, for inviting me. And Damon, thank you for that great introduction. Damon and I worked together in Kodiak, and it was what we call the dream team because it was such a great partnership, and so grateful to be here. I also want to say thank you to the people who have made all the sessions go so well today and yesterday and the day before. So let's give it up for the tech crew, the board, and everybody who joined. So I'm in the unenviable position of being the only thing between prizes and giveaways in here right now. So the title of my keynote today is How to Leave an Impact from the World's Shortest Keynote. So I've got about 15 minutes or so, they said, and depending on how good I do, that'll either be shorter or longer than that. But I'm really grateful to talk to you guys today, and I have a strategy of how I'm going to do it. So step one is don't talk about technology. So I know this is a technology conference, and I know that I got this award for being digital, but there's so much more to what we do than just technology. And I know that every one of you in here can agree with that. Step two, we're going to talk about dominoes.
Pizza?
No, not pizza. Sorry. Man, I didn't see that coming.
I'm a middle school teacher.
Okay.
You're teaching a middle school.
I know, come on. All right, so the first question I have for you is, why are you here? How many of you got into education to collect a paycheck and have the summers off? Don't raise your hand. And I know that if you're here, that really isn't you. You are here because you want to make a big impact. You know of the multiplying force of technology, that it can make you a much better educator if you're already a good educator. And it can also make you a much worse educator if you're not very good to begin with. And that is the real power of technology, is that it amplifies who we already are. So we need to be aware of that. And if you're like me, you want to make a big impact in education. And in order to do that, it's very counterintuitive, but you've got to start really small. So let's start by watching a video about dominoes.
Everybody knows about playing with dominoes, but what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino, which is about 1.5 times larger. So what I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. And the largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds, and is more than 1 meter tall. Ready? Two. That was 13 dominoes. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building. Here we go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, you can't watch dominoes just once, so you have to have a replay. And let's take it to a little bigger scale, because we don't want to make just a 100-pound impact, right? We want something that's closer to the Empire State Building, even if it's not quite there. So this is the world record set in 2009. Once again.
Different angle. That's good. Why is the one
So you would ask that.
That's kind of what I feel like. Is that like the mark? Very cool.
So, in order for us to make a huge impact in education, we need to start small, and we need to look at the one thing that we can do that will move all those dominoes later on down the line. So, I've interviewed a whole bunch of people for my podcast, people like Todd Whitaker, Rick Wormley, Damon, Fred Lane, and a bunch of other people who are very inspiring and help me to be a better leader. And what these people continually keep going back to is building the right culture and how we do that, and that the culture is everything. And if we're in a culture where we are buying technology for technology's sake, that is not the kind of culture that we want to create. If we're in a culture where we are getting to know every single student and supporting them in their individual needs and helping them to be the best they can, then we're going to create some amazing change in education. And I personally am on a mission to make that happen. And it's not easy, and you got to focus every single day. And so I want to ask you, with everything that we're doing at this conference, what is the one thing that you can do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary? You see, last summer I read a book called The One Thing, which was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. Gary Keller of Keller Williams Realty, the biggest real estate company in the world. And they talk about finding your one thing and then doing that over and over again to get the results that you need. There are a couple of different ways to do it. One is you create a power habit, and then you do a 66-day challenge to do that. So after reading that, I thought for a couple months, because I wanted to know what a real power habit would be and how I can make a real change in education. Do you want to know what it is?
What?
This is crazy. For me, I thought the first thing that I needed to get really good at doing, and doing it consistently every single day, was to go to bed at the same time as my wife. And that has nothing to do with education. How many of you... It is. All right, enough snickering, middle schoolers. So, how many of you work late into the night trying to do good things for your students? I know I do, and I'm sure many of you do too also. What I found though is that if I wanted to have harmony in my home, a good relationship with my wife, and have enough rest, you see, my wife likes to go to bed really early, like at 10 o'clock. And I like to stay up until midnight or 1 a.m. because that's when I'm most productive. That was what I believed for a long time. So my wife goes to bed at 10 o'clock, I stay up late, get work done, and I do better things for the kids. Then I get up at 5, because I don't need as much sleep as everybody says, and then I get a bunch more work done. So the amazing thing is, I started this 66-day challenge right at the end of November. And then on New Year's, my wife decided that one of her New Year's resolutions was to go to bed an hour earlier. I was like, come on! I can't do this. I can't fall asleep at 9 o'clock at night. There's just no way. And I've got so much stuff that I need to do. This just is not going to happen. Well, let me tell you what actually did happen. Is I still went to bed at 9 o'clock, even though it was challenging, even though some nights I laid up awake in bed until 11 o'clock reading, and my wife is asleep. She doesn't snore. Don't tell her. She's asleep, and I'm reading, and then I would get up, and you know what I found? I was much more productive in the morning. I would get up at 5, and I would get a whole bunch of stuff done, more stuff done than I could do from 9 until midnight and 5 until 7 previously. I had less time, but I was able to get a lot more done. In addition, I had the energy at work to really take the time with each of the people that I needed to coach and help grow. Because what I also did is I said, that's my one thing, my 66-day, my power habit that I've really got to do. And then I looked at my calendar, and I saw my to-do list. And that's intentionally small, because there's so much on there that I can't ever get through it all. And you can see there's just one little white spot right over here. Everything else, I've got it all scheduled. And I've got things that I need to get done and meetings with people. And that's a pretty typical day for me. And if you're a teacher, you know what that's like, because you don't have time to go to the bathroom. And I try to go to the bathroom, but teachers on their way to the bathroom catch me, and then neither one of us gets to go to the bathroom. So I know what that's like.
Such a true statement.
So after looking over my to-do list and seeing what I really needed to do, what's the one thing that I could do that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? How could I reduce discipline issues? How could I support teachers better? How could I accomplish all my other district work that I needed to do? I decided that what I needed to do was I needed to be in classrooms coaching teachers. And so you can see every day from 9:30 until lunch on my calendar, time blocked, is to go be with teachers and support them, mentor them, and coach them so that their questions are answered, their concerns are answered. Thank you. So I can't teach all the students in my building, but my teachers can. And my teachers can't teach those kids effectively if they're wondering about things that I could help resolve. So taking that time every single day is what makes sure that I've got my first priority done in the morning every single day. So going until lunchtime without checking my email, and I only check it once per day, without responding to any requests from my superintendent or assistant superintendent or anybody else, that's what I do every single day. Oftentimes, if there's a discipline issue, I tell that kid to wait till lunchtime. They talk real fast at lunchtime. Did you know that? They do.
Makes sense.
So, in my new school this year at Tanana Middle School, I had one thing for my teachers. Many of you are working on this personalized learning thing across the state that seems to be taking it by storm. I'm very excited about that. I think that it's the way that we need to do education. That's why I'm spending that time with my teachers to coach them on an individual, personalized basis so they get the support that they need. So I asked my teachers, your one thing, the only thing I'm really asking you, I'm not asking for lesson plans, I'm not asking for you to prepare anything extra, I'm not asking for anything extra. All I want is one personalized learning unit or lesson each quarter. That's it. I gave them a vision of where we want to be in 4 years. And I said, the one thing you can do this year is you can do one personalized learning lesson or unit each quarter. And the speed at which we have gone since I gave that directive is just amazing. Because we know where we want to go, we want to do big things, and we know the one thing that we need to do. So with that simple requirement, all the teachers have to do is have that one lesson or unit, and they're good. They've met my expectations. What that has freed them up to do is say, oh, I met the expectation, now what else can I do? And when you know what the vision is, and when you know the direction, then you can do that very easily. So, on each of the tables, I put I didn't, Tana and Sam did, thank you. They put sticky notes, and I'd like everybody to take a sticky note, and I want you to write on the sticky note what your one thing is. What is the one thing you can do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary?
You'll share with me? Oh, sweet.
And if
I
you
thought you
need a
put those all
stick
in
note,
one
you can
place.
raise your hand, and we got some more sitting up here.
Here's one pen.
And everybody's
Oh, he's got
scrambling
you.
around for
He's got you.
pens because we're at a technology conference.
It didn't say bring a pen. Come on, Jethro, help us out. What are we writing? What's your one thing? Like personally or school or it doesn't matter. One. Can I move back to my coat?
Make things easier at home.
I talked for Rich up
Oh,
there.
that wouldn't work there.
Yeah. Then I left the steak. And then I came back and I didn't get back up there.
All right, one thing. What's the one thing that you can do such that by doing it will make everything else easier or unnecessary?
Easier or unnecessary? Text Jeff all my questions.
No, I just wanted to share. I thought you were asking.
Oh, good. You're going to share at your table.
One thing. Give somebody else my key. Oh wait, that makes my job harder.
And I was just kidding about that whole technology thing. Go ahead and take a picture of that, post it on Twitter, hashtag ASTE18, hashtag one thing, and then you can mention me in it as well. And I'm at Jethro Jones on Twitter.
I have the sticky notes app.
All right, next thing, I want you at your tables, just for some simple group accountability, share with your table what your one thing is. We'll go around quickly and share what it is. Ready, go.
I actually really like Jethro's.
Yeah,
That was-
go to bed.
But really similar to it is bedtime every night with my kids. Like if that understanding is I'm actually going to do that because we kind of trade off, but it's not always when I'm there. If that, yeah, every night I'm doing it. I think that'll.
That does help.
Kid lunches, my lunches, meal plans, all for like the week kind of, and then some latter. I think that would help so I'm not coming home and like, what am I going to do? Or it's mac and cheese again, Teds.
I'd be grateful.
You said getting into morning workout. I like the
Okay, go ahead and wrap up your conversations, please.
It's a grade each day, something. It doesn't pile up, you know?
I need to take better care of myself, and so I'm kind of combining with what Maui said this morning, like 15 minutes a day. So I'm gonna try to do a 15-minute
All
walk
right,
every
ladies
day.
and
Just
gentlemen,
as
let's
like
come on back
a little bit of
together.
exercise. Get my brain going.
So some of you didn't write this down. Some of you are like, oh, that's cute, but I don't want to do this. Whatever, I get that. I just want to tell you real quick that there is real power in allowing a domino to start knocking other things down. If you can find the thing that makes other things easier or unnecessary, it can truly change your life in a very powerful way. So I talked a little bit before about how I have a big goal. And my goal is to impact 100 million kids by the year 2027. That's a lot. I only have 400 kids in my school. So I need your help. If I've said something that has been beneficial to you today, please go to my website, transformativeprincipal.org/impact, and let me know how many students will be impacted by what you learned today. If you're a superintendent, put in how many students you're over. If you're a teacher, I'll take that as well. If you're a parent and I'm just going to be impacting your kids at home, then I'll take that too. What I really want to do is I want to change what education looks like. We have 75 million kids here in the States, and I want to make a bigger impact than just what's happening here in the United States. So, thank you all so much for having me here, and who wants some prizes?
Woo!
Thank